Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in your life when words are no longer enough. You've explained yourself 1,000 times. You've justified your pain, argued your worth, and begged for understanding. But the world, it doesn't care about your explanations. It listens with deaf ears and watches with sharp eyes. It waits, not for your words, but for your actions. In a world obsessed with noise, with endless opinions, and with the constant need to be heard, silence has become a rare and misunderstood strength. People rush to prove themselves, to defend their actions, to announce every small step of progress. They want the world to clap before they've even crossed the starting line. But that's not how the strongest rise. The most powerful moments in a person's life often begin in quiet. Not with applause, not with recognition, but in the stillness where plans are formed and identities are rebuilt. When you stay silent, people assume, they guess, they make up stories about who you are and what you're doing. Let them. You don't need to correct every misunderstanding. You don't need to waste your breath proving your worth to those who are committed to seeing you as small. If someone cannot see your effort, let them sit in their ignorance. Your energy is not meant for convincing doubters. It's meant for building results. It's meant for discipline. It's meant for growth. The ones who win in life are not the loudest. They are the most consistent. While others are busy talking, defending, and proving, the silent ones are waking up early, staying focused, sacrificing distractions, and crafting something real. It is in the silence of daily effort where greatness is formed. No announcement, no performance, just work. Words are cheap, and in today's world, everyone is talking. Everyone has an opinion, but only a few are truly building. The louder you are, the more scattered your energy becomes. Because explaining yourself constantly takes away the power you need to create. You don't have to tell people what you're going to do. Just do it. You don't need to argue with those who don't believe in you. Let your results answer the questions they didn't even ask yet. There's a sacred kind of energy in silence. It allows your mind to focus without interference. It allows your spirit to grow stronger without being pulled in different directions. When you stop talking and start building, everything shifts. You become sharper, more aware, more disciplined, and in that stillness, you begin to understand something important. Validation from others is never worth as much as belief in yourself. Silence teaches patience, teaches maturity, teaches restraint. Because when you are silent, you are no longer reacting emotionally. You are responding with intention. That's the real power, not in reacting to every insult or judgment, but in being so grounded in your mission that you no longer need approval to continue. You know what you're doing, and that's enough. You don't owe the world your progress report. You don't need to live your life narrating every move. Most of your success will come from what people don't see. The quiet sacrifices, the unnoticed hours, the discipline that doesn't make it to social media. That's where the real work happens. And when it finally becomes visible, people will call it sudden. But you will know it wasn't sudden. It was silent. Use your silence as your foundation. Let it protect your vision. Let it guard your focus. Let it remind you that what you are building is not for the noise of others. It is for your own growth, your own freedom, your own future. And when it's time, when the work is done and the silence breaks, it won't be because you talked. It'll be because you showed the world something they never saw coming. In the moments when life challenges you the most, your instinct may be to speak, to cry out, to express your frustration or explain your pain. But often, the most powerful response you can give is not verbal. It's not emotional. It's action. People remember what you do far more than what you say. Words can be doubted, emotions can be dismissed, but actions, they are undeniable. They are your signature. They are your proof. It's easy to let emotions take control. Anger pushes you to speak recklessly. Sadness tempts you to give up. Frustration makes you want to scream your truth so loud that everyone finally understands. But what does it really change? Words, in the heat of emotion, lose their weight. They become noise, static, lost in a world where everyone is shouting. But when you choose to act instead of react, you create something solid, something real, something that lasts. You may feel like you're not being seen, like your effort goes unnoticed, like people only judge you by your past, by your mistakes, by the moments you weren't at your best. That hurts. But still, talking about it won't fix it. Trying to explain yourself to everyone won't bring peace. Because not everyone wants to understand you. Some just want to see you fail. The best thing you can do is take that pain and pour it into your work, your goals, your improvement. Show them, not through arguments, not through breakdowns, but through transformation. Emotions are not the enemy. They are signals. They show us where we need healing, where we feel threatened, where we are passionate. But they should not be the driver of our behavior. Actions require clarity. They require patience and direction. When you act with intention, despite how you feel, you gain control over your life. You stop being reactive and start becoming powerful. When someone disrespects you, you don't need to lower yourself to their level. Walk forward in silence. Work in silence. Become better in silence. That alone will be enough. When someone doubts you, there's no need to defend your potential with words. Let your progress do the talking. Let your consistency be the voice they can't ignore. Actions build trust within yourself and with others. Every time you choose to act instead of complain, you prove to yourself that you can be relied on, that you are not ruled by your mood, that you are becoming solid. And slowly, people start to notice, not because you forced them to, but because your results, your presence, your discipline speaks with a clarity that no speech can match. There's a calm that comes from choosing action over emotion. You no longer feel the need to beg people to understand your pain. You stop waiting for someone to give you permission to rise. You realize that your future depends more on what you build than what you feel. And that realization, it changes everything. It gives you your power back. There is a version of you waiting to be revealed, not through tears or explanations, but through silent, focused action. Every time you choose to move forward instead of react, you take a step toward that version. You become more precise, more grounded, more effective. You become the kind of person whose presence carries weight, not because of what they say, but because of what they do. Let others get caught in the noise. Let them waste time justifying, defending, over-explaining. You don't need to join them. Just act. Keep showing up. Keep building. Keep moving in the direction that matters. Your actions, repeated over time, will create a voice so powerful, so clear, that even your enemies won't be able to deny it. Pain is one of the most misunderstood forces in life. Many see it as a curse, something to avoid, something that signals weakness or punishment. But pain, in its raw form, is energy. It is a sign that something matters. It is proof that you care, that you are alive, that you are in motion. The question is not whether you will feel pain. Everyone does. The real question is, what will you do with it? Most people try to escape pain. They numb it with distractions, drown it in noise, or bury it beneath a mask of false smiles. But what we run from only grows stronger. Ignoring pain gives it power over you. Facing it transforms you. Pain can become the fire that pushes you forward, the silent partner that sharpens your focus and drives your determination. Can break you, yes, but only if you allow it to. If instead, you learn to use it, pain becomes a force that shapes your strength in ways comfort never could. Every scar you carry tells a story of survival, of a moment you could have given up but didn't, of a time when life pushed you to your edge and you chose not to fall. That history is not a weakness. It is your armor. It is the proof that you have faced storms and lived to keep going. It is the source of a strength you didn't even know you had. But you must decide to stop letting it define your suffering and start letting it fuel your rise. There is something powerful about the person who has felt deep pain and still chooses to move forward. Not with bitterness, not with rage, but with quiet resilience. When you've been hurt and still choose to build, that's power. When you've lost and still choose to believe in effort, that's strength. Pain can either make you cruel or make you kind, can either harden you or strengthen your heart. The choice is always yours. Transformation doesn't come in moments of ease. It's born from discomfort. Growth demands pressure. The person who has never been broken can never truly understand how to rebuild. And the ones who have rebuilt, those are the ones who walk with quiet confidence because they've already met their lowest point and climbed out of it. That kind of self-respect can't be given. It's earned through every painful step forward when quitting would have been easier. Pain can be your greatest teacher. It reveals what matters most. It shows you who is real. It wakes you up from the illusion of control and makes you confront the truth. It reminds you that time is precious, that people are temporary, and that everything can change in a moment. This awareness, painful as it is, also brings clarity. You start to see what deserves your energy and what doesn't. You stop chasing empty things. You start working on what's real. You don't have to pretend that pain doesn't hurt. You don't have to fake being okay. But you do have to decide whether you will stay stuck in it or use it as a reason to rise. Pain is heavy, but it can be carried. And more than that, it can be transformed into discipline, into focus, into a new vision of who you want to become. Some of the strongest people you'll ever meet didn't become that way in spite of their pain. They became strong because of it. They turned their wounds into wisdom, their heartbreak into hunger, their suffering into strength. They stopped asking, "Why me?" and started saying, "Watch me," not because they didn't hurt, but because they chose to build something greater than the pain they were given. Feelings are unpredictable. They shift like the wind, changing with your mood, your circumstances, your sleep, even the opinions of others. One moment you're motivated, ready to take on the world. The next, you're exhausted, doubting yourself, tempted to quit. If you build your life on feelings, your progress will always be unstable. Because when the emotion fades, so does the effort. Discipline is what stays. It's what carries you through the days when your feelings betray you. Discipline doesn't wait for perfect timing. It doesn't need motivation to show up. It doesn't ask for permission. It just moves. Discipline is showing up when it's raining, when you're tired, when no one is clapping, when your mind is full of doubts and distractions. It's the quiet repetition of the work, the early mornings, the late nights, the uncomfortable choices. While emotions make promises, discipline delivers. There will be days when everything inside you wants to take the easier path, to sleep in, to skip the effort, to escape into comfort. Your feelings will present 100 reasons why you can't or shouldn't. But discipline doesn't negotiate. It doesn't debate with doubt. It doesn't care if you're tired, bored, or uninspired. It just asks one thing. Did you show up? The people who go far in life are not the ones who feel good every day. They are not the ones who are constantly motivated. They are the ones who have trained themselves to move forward, regardless of how they feel. They've built habits so strong that even when their mind says stop, their body keeps going. Because they've made discipline a part of who they are, not just something they do when it's easy. Discipline is the difference between what you want now and what you want most. It teaches you to delay pleasure, to choose long-term growth over short-term comfort. It shows you that consistency beats intensity, that it's not about doing it perfectly, it's about doing it anyway. One step at a time, 1 hour at a time, one decision at a time. You won't always feel ready. You won't always feel strong. But discipline doesn't rely on feeling. It relies on commitment, on building structure in the chaos, on choosing what matters over what's easy. Discipline brings stability to a world that constantly pulls you in every direction. It anchors you when everything else tries to distract you. There is power in becoming the kind of person who doesn't wait to feel right before doing what's right. That kind of consistency creates momentum. It builds self-respect. When you know that you can rely on yourself even when you don't want to, you start to move differently. You stop waiting for motivation and start trusting your process. Feelings are temporary. They come and go. But the choices you make in the moments when you don't feel like it, those choices are what shape your future. Those quiet decisions, made without applause or recognition, are where discipline lives. And over time, they add up. They create progress. They create strength. They create results. It's easy to be disciplined when everything feels good. But real discipline is forged in the hard moments, in the tired days, in the lonely nights, in the silence when no one sees the effort. That's when discipline is tested, and that's when it becomes real. Because you didn't rely on how you felt. You relied on who you decided to become. When you're underestimated, when people talk behind your back, when they mock your efforts or dismiss your dreams, It's tempting to respond, to explain yourself, to prove them wrong with arguments. But words rarely change minds. They often fall on ears that never intended to listen. That's why your best answer isn't verbal. It's not in what you say. It's in what you achieve. The noise stops when results speak. People may not understand your struggle, your past, or your vision. Some will doubt you without reason. Others will try to measure your worth by your setbacks. That's their perspective, but it doesn't define you. You don't owe them explanations. You owe yourself progress. Every time you choose to build in silence instead of argue in noise, you shift the balance of power. Because success shuts down conversations that words never could. There's a quiet dignity in working while the world watches and waits for you to fail. Let them wait. Keep going. Your consistency, your evolution, your transformation, these will become impossible to ignore. And when the results arrive, those who doubted you won't have anything left to say. Because success isn't up for debate. It's visible, it's measurable, and most of all, it's undeniable. Let them laugh when you start. Let them call your goals unrealistic. Let them talk while you move. Most people are loud in the beginning and silent in the end. Be the opposite. Be silent now. Let your actions do the speaking. Build something so real that it silences every voice that ever said you couldn't. That's how you win, not through revenge, not through conflict, but through elevation. Success is not just about money or status. It's about self-respect. It's about knowing that you didn't quit when it was hard, that you stayed focused when it was lonely, that you kept building when nobody clapped. That kind of success changes how you carry yourself. You no longer feel the need to be understood by everyone because you understand yourself. You no longer chase approval because you've built confidence through discipline and results. The people who doubted you the most will often be the ones watching the closest. Not because they care, but because deep down they fear being proven wrong. Let them watch, but don't let them distract you. Your mission is not to satisfy their doubts. It's to fulfill your own purpose. Every time you level up, you make their opinions smaller, and eventually irrelevant. Sometimes the greatest victory is not saying a single word while rising. You let them assume. You let them misunderstand. You let them talk. But you keep showing up. You keep delivering. You keep becoming. Because when you arrive at your goals, you'll be too focused on the next level to even care about what they once said. That's real success, when your growth becomes more important than their judgment. You don't have to post every move. You don't need to update everyone on your journey. Most of your growth will happen when no one is watching. That's where strength is built, in the private, consistent grind. And one day, they'll look at you and wonder how you did it. And the answer will be simple. You stopped responding and you started building. You stopped explaining and you started executing. The louder you become with your results, the quieter the world becomes around you. Because success silences doubt in ways words never will. It ends arguments you never needed to start. It earns respect that explanations never could. And it teaches you that proving people wrong isn't about confrontation. It's about transformation.